Buendia, well, Buendia really, because Odegaard's relevant but not relevant. You know, man are saying I'm taking Buendia over Odegaard all day. I Faddy with the comment so far. Different players, in my opinion. I think they could all coexist together, but as an Arsenal fan, you can't be greedy. To be fair, Odegaard has just as much Premier League assists in half the time. Buendia and Odegaard, that's what we need if we want to move forward and control games. Fair comments. S is saying Odegaard has been our most creative player when you look at all the creative metrics and stats since he came in. Fans turned on him since the injury. I don't think fans have turned on him. I think he's been one of the most creative, but I'm pretty sure by that same logic, you can find a lot of creativity in relation to Smith Rowe and how he's the most. So let's be real. I think the truth is, bringing Odegaard in the last 6 months of the season, given somehow Smith Rowe being given an opportunity in December, it highlights the lack of creativity that wasn't there. And it highlights where, although it's not as easy to say this, where would we be if we very quickly got someone in the summer or introduced Smith Rowe earlier? And it just shows, you know, what creative players could do for you, in my opinion. You know, shout out to Life from Planet X holding it down for the Australian ones. You know, Kevin, apologies. Shout out to the Trinidad Gooners out there. Omar is saying, Buendia's quality, I would take him. Who wouldn't, man? Who wouldn't? VAR's agenda against Arsenal is real, especially since the Super League was announced, bro. I said to my sister when the ESL was announced, it would happen too. I don't think the Super League has any relevance because they've been on that F3 to us from day dot, man. Day dot. In the words of Arsene Wenger, there's a reason why they're not even our refs. I'm not even saying the R word. None of them refs go to major tournaments. Really, truly, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Alex, I don't think. Yeah, well, what you said there, I don't think you're listening because I've said it's not VAR, it's the referees how it's essentially being used, man. Football has been gone for a long time since the handball rule. I'm starting a new campaign. VAR cost us Europe. I hear it, but I can't get behind it because we cost ourselves, man. We cost ourselves that position. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, man. I like Buendia and believe he can go up a few levels and would be a smart computer signing from EDU and can play multiple positions, unlike Odegaard. To be fair to you, that's not necessarily fair to Odegaard because he can play as an 8, he can play as a 10, he can do a job out wide. But for me, Buendia, you know, he can play as that 10. People forget he could be used on the right-hand side, and you know, Arteta, that would appeal to him. I personally feel Buendia has the potential to learn to dictate games from deeper, and I won't go as far as to say deep-lying playmaker, but I see no reason why he can't be a little Santi Cazorla when it's needed, if that makes sense. Do you get it? But again, the problem is for me, I just don't want to, in the same way I think we rely on Smith Rowe. Obviously, he's a creative man. You're going to rely on that same way you're relying on your goalie to catch. But I just think we rely on Smith Rowe and Odegaard when they're there by themselves a bit too much, in the same way we thought Partey or the club bringing in Partey just fixes everything in midfield. Gabriel defensively, it's not as like that. I don't want a single facet of the team. I want creativity all day. I want creativity in abundance, if that makes sense. But I hear that, man. We need depth as well, man. Odegaard is overrated and doesn't pass the eye test. I think that's very harsh, man. I think he defo passes the eye test. You know, he's a good player. Defo don't feel he's overrated. Just there needs to come he just needs to show a lot more, in my opinion. But I do think fans are being a bit mad, man. See you getting that coin. I wish, man. I wish, bro. I wish. You know. Yeah, it's such a shame. Mo Turkish were the best on AFTV. Again, I don't, you know me, I don't do the gossip and the drama thing, but can someone update me as to what that is in relation to Mo and Turkish? Shout out to Turkish. I don't know what's going on there with AFTV, but shout out to Mo, shout out to Turkish, shout out to Robbie and AFTV. I don't know for all these politics or whatever it is, man. Buendia means good day in Spanish. Hope you all blessed. Hey, that just tells you some things are made to be. You bring Buendia to the club. For me, I want Buendia first and foremost. The man's a baller, innit? That's it. He's passed the balling test. You can pass the ball. You're a good footballer. In theory, you play with better players. We should get the most out of it. The problem is for me, when it comes to Buendia, not really for me like that, but how much is Donny going to cost? Because again, good players are never available in a sense. Obviously, every player has a price. Obviously, clubs pick up big players off bigger clubs. Obviously, you know where I'm getting at. Danny and you lot are smart enough. But if we look at it like this, nobody wants to sell. If you've got an asset that's good and helps your team and whatnot, you don't want to sell them. You know, Norwich didn't want to sell him last season. They probably didn't want to get rid of Jamal Lewis or Ben Godfrey, but everyone's got a price. They need to keep flipping peas, you know. They probably said to Buendia, we don't get promoted, you can F off. Now they're probably saying you can still leave, but why would you want to go Arsenal? Don't you want to stay, do a madness in the Prem? A bigger team might come for you. I think Buendia is on moving, but I just think I think people need to be real. Arsenal have more of a chance of getting him than people give credit for. We have more of a chance of tempting him, but you know, there's a level playing field for clubs. Clubs are not bullied anymore. You know, you know, you're seeing what Leicester's charging for players and the rest of it. So if you want Buendia, you have to pay top money because he's central to their plans. He helped them get promoted. So why wouldn't you want to see what he's on in the Premier League for you? They're going to have to bring in a replacement, which obviously messes up their thing. And to be honest, the way Norwich are as a football club, I'm pretty sure they've got that Buendia replacement lined up. You know, they're going to make a healthy profit on him. They spent like 2 odd million. I'm on it. Because, you know, he's an intelligent footballer. He can play a lot of roles. He complements the squad and he can be a difference maker. You know, for me, you give them the 30, 40, whatever they want. Just do that. You know, again, many people will say he's actually not Premier League proven in the sense of he didn't set the Premier League alight. He set the Championship alight. No one was really screaming his name. You knew he was a good player, but no one was screaming his name. So just I don't really believe this, but that's something to consider. He still ain't really proven it consistently at the top level. That might be something people are waiting for. But for me, you know, first and foremost, he's better than a lot of what we have. So that dispels that for me. Personally, I think he's a good player. Obviously, he can deliver a set piece. He can play a number of roles. He wants to be the difference maker. You know, you're seeing it almost week in, week out for Norwich in the Championship. While I don't want to just rely on Buendia, he can help us. And for me, I think you need a Buendia, an Odegaard on loan again. Maybe I'm being greedy, but a Buendia, for me, you need two minimum, but you know, maybe I'm being greedy and it won't happen. But if it just in terms of speculation, I would love a Buendia for 30, 40. You bring me a little hour as well for 30 million. You know, that's 60, 70 million there. You get the Basuma one done. That's 3 quality midfielders to go with Partey. And you know, you've got options there of a 2 6s. You know, there's many options you can do. And what I like about Buendia is, you know, it's forcing it, but you could play him off the right, have a little hour as a 10. I mean, as an 8, have Odegaard in the 10 or Smith Rowe in the 10 or do whatever in it. We've seen Odegaard and Smith Rowe play out wide. Not everybody needs to play. Obviously, if you've got a Basuma or a 6 and a 6 to go with Partey, there's games to do that in. We need to fix up the midfield, man. We need options. First and foremost, we need a competent 11. So yeah, man, I don't think fans have turned on anyone, but fair play, you know, really, you know, if you talk to 3 man and they tell you that they don't rate Odegaard, is that the fans or is that your immediate circle? Really and truly, it is what it is. E.g., if Odegaard and Buendia cost the same price, who you picking? I'm more of a Buendia fan still, but I don't want to sound reactionary. I'm happy with either one. I'd rather take. I guess the more educated risk probably would be Odegaard because he's played in the top level higher. You know, the one thing that goes against Buendia is he actually hasn't done it at the top level. One thing that I think would go against Buendia as well is, listen, I don't want to get onto Arteta, but you ain't really got the best out of, you know, the attackers already. So are you going to get the best out of them? It's all fun and games saying buy Buendia and that, but you buy him, how are you going to use him? How is it, you know, how are you going to get the ball further up the field so he can connect with the strikers? Because you can't just sign a creative man, slap them on the pitch and think it solves everything. Or by that logic, Smith Rowe and Odegaard, who have pulled their weight, they'd solve all the questions. It's just not like that. So, and like I said, you know, I haven't seen anything from I know he said he needs pre-season and all these things, but I haven't seen nothing from a footballing sense to say, all right, cool, you get that creator. I'm going to see mad creativity because we're not fashioning chances, but I would like to see that happen, man. I would like to see that happen. Didi has said 6:30 a.m. in Toronto and Deluded still up before me right now. Most consistent YouTuber. I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm the most consistent YouTuber, but I know I'm damn hungry to make it. So it is what it is. We keep going. So yeah, man, let me actually get into the goal.com article via Charles Watts that was actually in relation to Buendia and whatnot. Let me scroll up all the way. Let me stop being rude. Give you first-time viewers a chance to see. But people, please make sure you're hitting that like button before I continue. Where we at? 115 likes. Keep running that one up, man. There's 200 odd of you in here, so a couple people not doing their jobs. Shout out to Charles Watts, though. He said Arsenal step up when Buendia interest amid Odegaard and amid Odegaard uncertainty. Odegaard, who said he's happy at Arsenal, however, still owned by Real Madrid, and we need to talk. We already know that. You know, Arsenal don't have a buy option. We need to see how Real Madrid see him. We have to see what Odegaard sees, because I'm pretty sure he's in two minds. I'm pretty sure he wants to stay here. I'm pretty sure he wants to go back to Madrid. So he needs to make a choice. And to be honest, not making a choice is making a choice. I'm very wary of these transfer business stuff because, like I said, people, good players are not really available. Norwich have no reason to sell Buendia. Everyone's got a price. If the player says, I want to go, that makes things different. But you're going to have to put money down. And when you look at a lot of our signings, people, we're not really forcing them out of their clubs. You know, Partey, they wanted to keep him, but the release clause made it, you know, an advantage for us. Half of the names we've been linked with, you know, we've brought in Cedric, we've brought in we've been linked with Bertrand. With respect to Matt Ryan, he has a foot out the door at Brighton. A couple of players have been like that. David Luiz was a good serviceman. Lampard told you it's done there. Do you get it, people? Not too many of these players have you know, we've wanted them and they've come and stuff. Obviously, we've bought Pepe, but again, Leo are a selling club, so there's a bit of a edge in that. And I'm also wary when you see the new shirts coming out, season tickets up for renewal, and when you hear rumors of war chest, Kroenke's going to do this in the market, that in the market. We're in for Aouar, we're chatting to Odegaard, we're looking at this defender, Buendia interest. I'm very wary of all of this. This needs to correlate to actually bringing them in, really and truly. For me, this move, you know, if you want him, go and get it done, because you tried to do it in January. Go and get it done, people. But let's see what Charles has said, man. Big up Charles Watts. Danny has said the Charles Watts DG collab would be levels one day. Charles, if you're listening, you know what to do. DG's name got to be first, though. I don't know about all that, though, Danny, but we already know this, innit? Arsenal are on the lookout for a new playmaker this summer, and technical director Edu is keen on Norwich City's Argentine star. You know, Arsenal are stepping up their pursuit of Emiliano Buendia as they look at alternatives to Martin Odegaard this summer. I hear it. We need to look for alternatives, because if Real Madrid say, you know what, we're keeping him, we're pissed, pardon my language. But same way, I'm being greedy in it, because beggars can't be choosers. But I think he need both, or if not the names, the roles that they do. Because Buendia, for me, he can play as a 8 long term. I see no reason for that. Play as a traditional 10. Use him as an inverted playmaker, obviously. And for me, you know, I'm sure he wants to prove people wrong, because many people say you ain't done it in the Premier League. We know you're a good player. We've seen it, but we've seen it in the Champs. So proven, I won't go as far as to say that, but this can give you it. Why I'm not worried is because ballers, you know, if a ballers can play in it. He's an intelligent footballer. It's not like he's in a system that hides deficiencies. It's not like he relies on pace or strength. He's a technical footballer. He's got a brain. He thinks. For me, you can play anywhere in it. You can do anything. So I see no reason as to why, hypothetically, if he did sign, we'd be a success. I mean, he wouldn't be a success. And as you lot know, apparently we've watched him on countless occasions during his three-year term at Carroll Road. Arsenal are yet to make an official offer for Buendia. Now, obviously, that first sentence tells you everything. We ain't put an offer down. There is nothing. But at the same time, the season isn't finished. It is what it is. So there's a lot of stuff to be done. And I'm sure Buendia's camp will have a long talk. Do I want to stay at Norwich? Do I want to leave? It's up to him, people. And I'm sure he doesn't want to, not that it's a burn bridges thing, but I'm sure he wants to, you know, leave through the front door, not leave as a snake. But apparently he's moved up to the top of our list for playmaking targets as discussions inside the club ramp up ahead of the summer transfer window. We already know Odegaard has spent the second half of the season on loan, people, and Arteta is hopeful we can keep the Norway international for at least another year. He's got 2 years left on his deal, so one would wonder, surely Real Madrid say you're not leaving unless you commit a new deal and you go on loan, because that protects them having a future asset, and it also strengthens their negotiation hands if they choose to sell Donny. So there's a decision, and apparently Zidane, like you lot know, he's expected to move naturally. If your manager that wasn't playing you leaves and a new manager comes in, you're gonna want to try your luck there. So we'll have to see, people. For me, whether it's Odegaard, Aouar, Buendia, listen, bring them in, because I don't want to see Lacazette 10, Willian 10. Definitely not Ceballos for a third year in the 10. I don't want to see nonsense, you know, and I don't think it's fair Saka can do the 10 thing, but I don't think it's fair to rely on Saka and Smith Rowe to the degree we have, even if they were experienced players. It's not healthy. There's 38 Premier League games, and we might not be in Europe, to put it nicely, but typically if you're going to be in Europa League, the Premier League, that's 38 games minimum in the league, at least 6 in the group stages in the Europa League. You need different options, injuries, loss of form, different tactics. People don't understand it's a squad game. Now, Arsenal's first 11 isn't 30, so you can see it. Apparently, Arsenal are looking at other options. We're looking at Fekir. You know, we should have grabbed Donny when he was playing at the Emirates Cup, right wing for Lyon that time, and almost scored a banger. Apparently, Goal has learned that technical director Edu has started to step up the club's interest in Buendia, who is keen on making the move to North London. Now, if we look at Partey, apparently we wanted Partey from Emre time, but if we look at what we was told via rumours, apparently Arteta wanted both of them. I'm talking about Partey and Aouar now last summer, but if it came to it, he wanted more Aouar. Edu allegedly wanted Partey. Don't know if that's true, but I remember sitting there and reading the articles. So if my point being, if Edu gets his way, you know, he's kind of vetoing Arteta. So if this is the guy you want, this is the guy you want. And, you know, last player, I was told abundantly clear what that Arteta wanted. You know, he might be going to MLS. Apparently, one of Arsenal's priorities this summer is to add more creativity to the squad that has struggled to break teams down this season. They view Buendia, who has just been named the Championship's Player of the Season, as someone who can come in and make a real difference during next season. He's 24 years of age, so he's not near his peak. We all know he's had an exceptional season. We all know in 39 apps, he's bagged 17 assists and grabbed 15 goals. That's more than any other player in the division. Championships are a hard league to be consistent. There's a lot of games, so I'm not belittling it, but I need to see it correlate. You know, what gives me more of a say, more confidence is obviously I want a man that can score and get assists. We ain't got too many of them. But again, this is what gives me more hope, because when you look at Arsenal's metrics in terms of final passes, lack of breaking down teams and all of those things, when I hear a man's completed more through balls, completed more final third passes, creates big chances, these sort of things gives me hope, because if he comes and he creates a bag of them, we should score a lot, and other men do it. It's a game of averages. Look at yesterday, bros. We never had we had a shot in the 35th minute and didn't have a shot on target after that until the 90th. At one point, we were 70 minutes in, one shot on target. Football's a game of fine margins, as Arteta says, but he never takes heed of the fact of, you know, we should be creating hella chances. You know, them goals we scored, they should last night, they should be a byproduct of creating a million chances a game. You know, you don't shoot, you don't score. You ain't got creative players. You ain't got players that can shop in the defensive aspect. You can't do anything serious as a club. So that's what, obviously I want a man to score and assist. But when I hear big chances created through balls, possession, passes, this is what is an Arsenal player to me, because that tells me he's confident in himself. You know, it's all fun and games to be able to do things. But how many footballers have you seen try a mad pass? It's terrible and they don't try it again. I need a man that has the confidence when it's not going well to keep trying it. Consistency, you know. I want him to score and get an assist, but some creative players, them things there don't do them justice. As long as he can dictate the tempo of the game, demands the ball, can break down a low block, I'm cool with his addition, people, because we're bleeding, you know. With respect to El Nene, I don't want to rely on El Nene, Partey, you know, even Basuma and Partey can pass the ball, but that's not their job. I think we'll be bleeding if we're relying on them to create, you know. I hear what people are saying, Basuma and Partey. I think we need an option of that. But if that's the only default levels pivot we've got, we're going to put even more expectation on the Smith Rowes and man like that. So when I get from this is Buendia is confident, competent, and consistent. They're the 3 C's. Typically at Arsenal, too many men, as I said yesterday, they don't have all of those. They're either confident, they're just not consistent, or competent. They might be competent, they don't have the other one. So that gives me a lot. But like I said, there's no offer on the table. So this is all hypothetical. And leading into the next bit of this article, we've yet to table an offer for Buendia. And Norwich are believed to want around 40 million for the attacking midfielder. He's got 3 years left on his contract. He's just been called up by Argentina. So on top of having a great season in the Championship, Norwich being promoted, him being central to Norwich's plans, and 40 million, you know, if you want him, you're going to need to pay the money. Do I think 40 million is a bit excessive? Yes. Can we find it at the 35 mil region? And again, not to bring Joe Willock in, and shout out to Joe Willock for obviously bagging yesterday. I don't really want to sell Joe Willock, but if selling Joe for a 25, 30 means you can tie up these Buendias and all these other names, Basuma and all these guys, then these are necessary evils. But as you see, there's no reason for Norwich to sell. You've got to make them an offer they can't refuse. Every player has a price, but they've got no reason to sell. You know, and I'm sure they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna bring in players. You'd imagine they would. They've got their own transfer plans, and obviously they're obviously considering a reality where Buendia moves on, but you'd imagine somewhat they're hopeful he stays. So by that logic, he should be kind of, you know, you're building your team around them. So you're going to put a spanner in that work. So you've got to make it worth their while. They want apparently 40 million. Make sure you're hitting the like button and tell me what you lot think of that 40 million. Would you lot pay 40 million for him? Shout out Roy Hodgson, but we ain't trying to listen to that, my guy. Pause that. Speaking earlier this month about the prospect of selling Buendia, Norwich boss Daniel Fark said, of course, if one of the best clubs in the world wants Emi as a starter and makes an unbelievable offer, then it could be a realistic solution for all parties. And that's it, unbelievable offer. That's it, you know. I'd still think we're one of the best teams in the world on reputation and whatnot, maybe not in ability, but you want the guy, put the money on the table. And this is where we cannot stumble in the summer and start freestyling. Oh, let's go for Buendia. Oh, let's go for Aouar. We should be knowing what we're doing. Okay, Aouar is available for 30 mil. We put him at this place on our target. We want Buendia, cool, 40 million. How are we getting that 40 mil? Is Kroenke putting it in? Are we selling players? Are we doing it before? Simple as that. We need to know what we're doing. If there is a club who want to put some crazy offers out, then maybe you use this to help the club in the future. But as head coach, my first thought is to work further on key players. So they probably have an indirect agreement to sell him if it does happen. But you've got to make it worth their while. It's as simple as that. No money means you ain't doing it really and truly, people. So